Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover. So before we get into these topics, do me a favor. If you do end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, make sure you leave it a like. It really does help the videos out more than you know. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Now the first topic we're going over talks once again about God of War Ragnarok, but we have some good news in my opinion. Obviously there's been a lot going on with this game in the past week or so, and so I'm hoping we can end it on a relatively positive note here before going into next week. So we have Cory Barlog officially confirming that God of War Ragnarok is not delayed. So this was on Twitter where an individual said to Cory Barlog, "Why won't you all just go and tell us that Ragnarok is delayed so that we can move on and plan the rest of the year? Seriously, this is getting frustrating." And Cory Barlog simply replies, because it's not being delayed. He's letting this individual know that the reason why Santa Monica Studio has not come out and announced the delay of God of War Ragnarok is because it's not a thing. It's been reiterated multiple times that God of War Ragnarok is slated to launch in 2022. There has been a lot of speculation across the internet that the reason why we haven't heard anything from this game yet is because it's going to be delayed, or that there are potentially some issues happening behind the scenes. And so I think to get this directly from Cory Barlog is a great sign that things are going well behind the scenes. And just because they're not talking about it at this exact moment doesn't mean that there's any problems or that it's not still on track to release this year. So there you have it, directly from the man himself. God of War Ragnarok is not being delayed. But we are continuing with the good news here. This is reading from PlayStation Universe, where it says Bloomberg's Jason Schreier has revealed in a post on Reset Era that God of War Ragnarok is still on track for a November release as previously reported, and that he's heard the game is huge and warrants a lot of excitement. So this is what he had to say. "After talking with more folks yesterday, I can definitively say that there was a release date / pre-order announcement planned for yesterday. It was bumped at some point last week. I don't know why. Also, PlayStation has been trying to keep secrets so badly that Sony Santa Monica employees weren't even told about it. As of this week, the game is still on track for November. People working on it say it's huge and seem to be pretty excited about it. Reminds me of the buzz I was hearing before the 2018 one." So Jason Schreier is saying that he's hearing God of War Ragnarok is huge and there is a lot of excitement and buzz surrounding it internally. He's also saying that it's reminding him of the buzz and excitement that surrounded God of War 2018. I think this is great news if it's to be believed, because unfortunately there is a little bit of negativity surrounding God of War Ragnarok. I think most people are still very much looking forward to this game and have high expectations, and I think it's okay, honestly, to have high expectations for a game like God of War Ragnarok. But it's clear at this point that some people are maybe a little bit more on the fence or are keeping their expectations in check, and so hopefully Santa Monica will be able to deliver a great experience that will end up being huge and very exciting when it launches. But I want to close out the God of War topic by talking about one other thing that Cory Barlog said on Twitter. This was in response to an individual who was saying that we should find somebody or something to blame for everything that's going on right now and all of the toxicity that's being spread across Twitter and the internet regarding the development team at Santa Monica and the game itself. And Cory Barlog replies by saying, "Don't. The answer is not to find someone to blame or focus hate on. Maybe just pay it forward and treat the people that make the things we love with some human decency and respect. This is not a battle. We are not at war. We are just trying to make plus enjoy things together." And to make it even more interesting, Phil Spencer actually responded to what Cory said here, and he says, "So well said, Cory. Can't wait to enjoy God of War when it comes out, and thanks to you and the team for the amazing work that goes into creating things we love. Thank you." So I thought that this was a really cool exchange, and generally speaking here, I think what Cory Barlog is conveying is absolutely that something that needed to be said right now, and that I think a lot of people should probably listen to. And so there you go. I'm going to end the God of War topic on that note. Make sure you leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We are moving on to the next topic, which is a very interesting one, a potentially very disappointing one, depending on what your expectations are when it comes to Sucker Punch Productions. They put out a little blog post here, which I'm going to read to you because they're giving us an update on their new project that they're working on. But unfortunately, they're also confirming that there are no inFAMOUS or Sly Cooper games in development. And so let's read what they have to say. As we approach 25 years since Sucker Punch first opened, we're proud to look back on the legacy of characters and stories we've created, from Rocket Robot on Wheels to Sly Cooper and inFAMOUS, and most recently Ghost of Tsushima. As our games continue to grow in scale and complexity, they require the full attention of our studio. With our focus on our current project, we have no plans to revisit inFAMOUS or Sly Cooper right now, and no other studio is currently working on projects related to those franchises either. These characters are very special and near and dear to our hearts, so while we'd never say never to reopening those doors down the road, for now, there are no inFAMOUS or Sly Cooper games in development. We know many people still play these games even today, so we'll be performing maintenance on inFAMOUS 2 UGC servers soon to move them to a new home that will keep them up and running a bit longer. We will eventually need to sunset these, but want to keep them running for as long as possible for players who are still active. We're also working to put Cole's Legacy DLC for inFAMOUS Second Son, which was previously only available as part of the Collector's Edition on the PlayStation Store, in all territories for anyone who missed it. Thank you to everyone for an incredible 24 plus years of support. Your love and appreciation are what fuel us to keep making new games and new worlds, and we look forward to continuing to bring new and exciting ideas to life for many years to come. We're not ready to talk about whatever might be next, but we hope you'll be following us whenever we're ready to share more. And so that is what Sucker Punch Productions had to say. And obviously, this is kind of, I don't know, this is good and it's bad. It feels kind of like bittersweet news because a lot of people are going to be very disappointed to hear that there is no inFAMOUS, that there is no Sly Cooper. But at the same time, it's become pretty clear that whatever this next project they're working on is, I mean, come on, it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima 2. It was a mega hit game. It's going to be absolutely colossal, and they are putting everything into this next game. They are not dividing up their development teams. They're just working on something massive. They could be working on multiple Ghost of Tsushima projects. That is a possibility, but nonetheless, they are making it clear that right now, they are not making an inFAMOUS or Sly Cooper, and no other studio is. And one last thing I want to say about this before moving on, it just goes to show that there are very, very, very few individuals who actually have any legitimate or solid information regarding what's going on at PlayStation or PlayStation Studios internally, because we have been hearing rumors from different sources throughout the past year or two that there's a new Sly Cooper and a new inFAMOUS game in development, and here we are. It turns out that none of that was ever true. Neither of these games are in development. I mean, some people might think that maybe Sucker Punch is lying, but there's no reason for them to explicitly state this if these games were actually in development. So yeah, one final thing I will say, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I do appreciate this. I love when studios and development teams are just very transparent and clear-cut. I think it's great that they're kind of saying this now, because at least going forward, we don't have to speculate or listen to any more rumors of whether or not there's going to be an inFAMOUS or Sly Cooper game, because we heard it right from Sucker Punch themselves. It's not happening. So leave your thoughts about that down in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation VR2. Apparently, the first picture of the new hardware has been spotted online. Reading from PlayStation Universe, it says the first in-person photo of the PlayStation VR2 has been released online by VR developer BitPlanet Games, who have previously made games for PC and are seemingly now also making a VR title for PSVR2. This is the first time, it would seem, that a photo of the headset and controllers has been publicly released. that wasn't just a rendering of the product. Here we can finally get a bit more of a sense of how large the headset and new controllers are. Although this photo itself isn't all that informative, what it does say is that we're getting closer to being able to hear more about Sony's upcoming VR console. And so the article actually closes out by saying, right underneath the photo, a user on Twitter questions the BitPlanet Games account, asking if it could maybe have just broken some sort of NDA with Sony, to which BitPlanet Games replied that if this were 6 months ago, they'd be right. So yeah, I saw a lot of people responding to this and talking about it, and I mean, look, it's looking really good, right? I feel like that's all I can really say about PSVR2. Seeing an in-person photo like this, it looks clean, it looks simple, it looks easy to use. I just overall really like the design philosophy that Sony chose to go with for PSVR2. But continuing to talk about PSVR2, reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says leading eye tracking technology firm Tobii has announced that it has officially entered into a partnership with Sony for PSVR2 eye tracking. Back in February, Tobii revealed that it was negotiating a contract with Sony, leading to speculations that PSVR2's development isn't as far along as previously thought. However, it's possible that Sony's working with a number of partners. In a press release, Tobii said that it will receive upfront revenue from Sony starting in 2022, and it looks like this figure is quite significant because the company claims it will represent more than 10% of its revenue this year. PSVR2 still doesn't have a release window, let alone a release date, although Sony has been drip-feeding information about the upcoming system, and it seems more than likely at this point that Sony will be aiming for a Q1 2023 release for PSVR2. And so I just wanted to let you guys know about this because it seems like Sony is partnering with this leading eye tracking company to really make sure that the eye tracking in PSVR2 is going to be very good, right? And that's something that's going to be pretty important. So let me know your thoughts about that down below. The final topic I have for you is a pretty interesting one. It has to do with Destruction All-Stars and how apparently the development team is still very much committed to supporting the game. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says Destruction All-Stars garnered attention when it was announced as one of the launch titles for the PS5, but a myriad of issues, including a delay, caused interest to quickly fade. However, 2 years later, the game is still in active development, and Lucid Games recently stated that it's still committed to the title. In fact, it looks like it might be the vanguard for Sony's live service aspirations. And so there was a Twitter post here from Push Square where they said, as Sony's live service era begins, Destruction All-Stars is gradually becoming a must-play PS5 game. And Lucid Games, or I should say the official Destruction All-Stars Twitter account, actually quote tweeted this and said, "We put so much work into the game, from feedback and talking with our players over the last few months. A rocky start, and now we're getting in our stride. We're still determined to keep pushing forward, and there's still so much more to come." And so this article finishes by saying, while many thought it would be quickly abandoned, Destruction All-Stars has come a long way since its shaky launch, and Lucid Games continues to add new features and content. It now has seasonal content and a battle pass, and there are multiple progression systems that net players new cosmetics. So I wanted to just kind of talk about this because it is a bit surprising, right? I mean, I did not expect Lucid Games to still be supporting this game so heavily and really be this committed to it. And I have to admit, I haven't played it in a very long time. In fact, I don't think I played it since it was a PS Plus game early last year. So who knows, maybe it's a game I'll just have to kind of reinstall and go check out and see what they've changed and if it really is making some of these major improvements. Because the one thing I will say about this game is it really wasn't that bad. It did get off to a rocky start. There were just certain aspects that I felt like really needed to be worked on and refined, but the foundation was relatively solid. So it seems like maybe if they spent all this time kind of building off that, who knows? I don't necessarily think this game will make a massive comeback and become like a mega hit, but maybe it will at the end of the day find its place. So let me know if you've tried out Destruction All-Stars recently or what you think about this information. But that does it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, leave it a like if you did, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.